What to do when you have a bad game. Now, we've all been in this situation, everyone's played a bad game, and it's one of the worst feelings going, especially if it was a big part of your life. So I'm going to be explaining what you need to do to improve pretty much afterwards, and then as well as this, how to basically get over it and move on. Quickly, I just want to say I have 3 paid products that will be linked in the description, one of them being a fitness plan, the other being a gym plan, and lastly my one-to-one mentorships, where I largely use that to build you guys a professional routine where you can improve at the maximum that you possibly can. So once you trust me enough, make sure to click them links in the description, and if you want to check out any other reviews, then go on my Instagram page. There's lots of testimonials basically explaining how good my fitness plan is or how good the one-to-one calls are, etc, etc. So without further ado, let's get into what to do when you've had a bad game. So this is something that you may not have even thought about, right? Because a lot of people either get really wound up about stuff and they get really upset, or they try to move on instantly, which is impossible because we're natural, we're human beings. If you're annoyed by something, you're going to feel annoyed by it, right? So the best thing that you can actually do is you take that anger, that sadness, whatever the emotion is, right? And then you choose a set amount of time that you're actually going to be affected by this, right? And this is sort of like a stoicism thing, but at the same time it's not, because you are still processing that emotion. You're not completely ignoring it. So with this, you say, you finish your game, right, and you go, okay, I'm annoyed, I'm so pissed off, like, but it can't ruin my whole week, it can't ruin my next 2 weeks. I'm going to be annoyed for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, the rest of the day, but after that, I'm going to just move on. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I can't control my mind, like, if I'm upset, I'm upset, I'm going to be upset for however long. But you actually can control when you choose to move on. So sit on the emotion. If it's a slightly annoyed, then, pick an hour. Or if you're really, really, truly fuming about your game, you've lost the final, it's heartbreaking, pick the rest of the day. And this links perfectly into my next point, right? So you've chosen that you're going to sit on the emotion, that's fine, but then you're going to move on. And then what we're going to do at the same time as this is we're going to do some reflection, and what I mean by that is we're going to be analysing our game. So with this, you need to, firstly, I would suggest that you pick out what you did well, right? It's very easy to go, oh, I did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. But in a game, even if you played absolutely terrible, there will be one thing that you did well. So focus on some of the positives, right? But then as well as this, you need to analyse, obviously, what went wrong. And this is exactly how you can improve. Just as an example for this, my dribbling was great today, but my decision making could have been better. That's almost put a positive spin on it, because you're not saying my passing was terrible, my decision making was terrible. You're saying it could have been better, right? So you need to keep that positive mindset, especially with something like football, because it's very, very tough mentally. So you have to keep that positive mindset. If you're not positive about yourself, then no one else is going to be. So you have to basically keep that level of confidence about yourself. So as well as this, I also like to do this. So you put a positive spin on it, like I explained there. But another example of this is, okay, so I've done X, Y, and Z in the game. My dribbling's good, but my passing's bad. But imagine like how good I could be if I had this skill unlocked, or if I didn't do this right, or sorry, if I did this right. Then this basically puts a positive spin on it. So it's, for example, so say you're really unfit, but you have great technical ability. You would go, oh my days, I was so unfit today. That's what a normal person would do. Like, they would get upset about how bad their fitness is. But what you would do is you go, wow, like, if I just improve my fitness, I can be amazing. So it's about putting a positive spin on things as well as reflecting on what you did wrong. But then, as well as this, you need to find out what went wrong. And if it's a repeated pattern, this isn't something you should do just after any game. It's after every game, right? So you need to find out, there'll be things every game that you did wrong. And if there's a pattern of something that's going wrong, then you know how to work on them, right? And if you have any questions about anything like that, then message me on Instagram or put it in the comments below. Anything about like what you think's going wrong, and I'll try to help you out with that in the comments personally below. But that's pretty much it for reflection. You've got to sit on the emotion, like I explained firstly, and then as well as that, then you move into the analysis of what you did wrong, and that's basically how you can improve, like logically. But then as well as that, you've got the emotional side of things where you just, you say you're annoyed, but then, It's an hour later, and you go, okay, I've moved on from it. And this is my last point, brings me on nicely to it. And with this is for those of you who literally, like, you are heartbroken, you cannot get over it. Because a lot of you will just need the first 2 points where it's like, okay, move on, fine, game Tuesday, play bad on Saturday, doesn't matter. But this is for those of you who genuinely, like, you'll get yourself down into a downward spiral and you're just so vexed about your game. So, just a literal reality check about this stuff, right? The football season is so many games. For most, like, men's teams, if you're playing men's football, it's about 45 games. And for those of you at youth football, it might be like 20, right? That's still a lot of games, right? And if you put that into perspective of your whole career, and like, if you play football for 10 years, for example, you know, you're going to play like 200 games, whatever it is, and probably more than that, right? Like, a lot more than that for most of you. So why would it just doesn't even make sense logically? Why would you dwell on one bad performance when, you know, you have the potential to play 500 games? It would be unrealistic and inhumane to play well every game. You know, you're going to have bad games. Ronaldo has bad games. Messi has bad games. You're only human, right? So you just need a reality check in that aspect. That, like, you just relax. Like, play one bad game, you know, you can still be a good player. Like, just relax, mate. And then, as well as this is for those of you who literally, like, football is your entire life. You're completely obsessed with it, which is completely fine. You know, obsession is great. But you need to remember, like, football is not your entire life, even if it is, right? Like, yes, it stinks to play terrible, but you started playing football because you enjoyed it. It gave you some sort of happiness. It was fun. You're not playing because you have to go pro or because you have to prove this coach right, etc., etc. You're playing because you enjoy football, right? So if you just think about that when you play, then one, you're probably going to take a lot of pressure off yourself. But two, when you play bad, you'll think, okay, play bad. I care about football, so I'll try to improve on the things that I messed up with the analysis stuff I explained. But you just take the pressure off yourself, and you'll take off the hard emotion of it's the end of the world. Because it's not the end of the world, right? There's so many things to football, like I explained. There's many, many years to the career. And then as well as that, there's so many other things in life. So that's pretty much it for the video. I think I've put that very, very well. If you have any further questions on this topic, then make sure to give me a message on Instagram or just put it in the comments below, that's fine. But if you have any questions as well about my fitness plan, gym plan, and my one-to-one mentorship, then also give me a message. And remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.